Nico Rosberg didn't hold back. His words were direct, honest, and cut deep into the heart of what many in Formula One have been whispering for a while. If Lewis Hamilton believes that Ferrari will save his career, Rosberg wants him to know that he's stepping into something much more fragile than it appears. Rosberg isn't just throwing out opinions for shock value. When he calls Ferrari the basement of Maranello, he's not talking about the literal structure of their factory. He's pointing at the very core of the team, their leadership, their unity, and their culture, the foundation of Ferrari, once considered the strongest in Formula One history, is now showing cracks that even the fastest car can't cover up. For years, Ferrari was the dream, the red cars, the legacy, the passion of the tifosi. It represented the heart of motorsport. But lately, what once felt like pride now feels like pressure. Every weekend brings hope, but also fear. Will this be the race they get it right? Or another one filled with confusion, delays, and missed opportunities? Rosberg, someone who knows what it takes to win a world championship, sees the writing on the wall. He isn't just watching lap times, he's watching the spirit of the team, and what he sees is concerning. When Rosberg speaks, it matters, not just because he's a world champion, but because he understands both the technical and emotional side of Formula One. He raced alongside Lewis Hamilton, fought him for the title, and knows what kind of environment allows a driver like Hamilton to succeed. So when he warns that Ferrari's core is crumbling, it isn't just speculation, it's a diagnosis from someone who's been on the inside of a winning machine. The first issue Rosberg raised was inconsistency. It's become Ferrari's trademark. In recent years, one weekend they look like they could fight for the title. The next, they're being beaten by midfield teams. Take Monaco in 2024, for example. Ferrari brought a new front-wing upgrade, hoping it would finally give them the edge. But instead of stepping forward, they fell behind. Alpine outqualified them. There was no performance gain. It was a confusing and disappointing result. And it wasn't the first time an upgrade had failed to deliver. Rosberg pointed out that a team of Ferrari's stature should not be this lost when it comes to development. In his view, Ferrari is constantly reacting instead of planning. They throw parts on the car, hoping something will stick. But hope is not a strategy, and in Formula One, if your upgrades don't work, you're not just falling behind, you're giving your rivals a huge advantage. Then there's the issue of pit stop and strategy chaos. It's been happening again and again. Tired choices that don't make sense. Timing that feels rushed or too late. Basic calls being made in panic. Rosberg reminded everyone of the 2023 Hungarian Grand Prix. Ferrari decided to double-stack their drivers in the pits, Leclerc and Sainz, without enough warning. The result was pure chaos. Mechanics scrambled. Time was lost. Positions were thrown away. Rosberg said it best. Ferrari doesn't even have the nerve to commit fully to a plan. And in a sport like F1, where milliseconds matter, hesitation is deadly. But the most powerful part of Rosberg's critique wasn't about tires or wings. It was about leadership. He pointed to the deep, quiet problems that live inside the Ferrari building. According to him, Ferrari lacks a single, respected leader who can bring everyone together. Frederick Vasseur, the current team principal, might have good ideas. He might even have a long-term vision, but Rosberg believes that vision is being blocked, not by rivals or technical limits, but by Ferrari's own culture. Old-school thinking, political games, internal factions that pull in different directions. Rosberg said it clearly, even Vasseur's authority is challenged. That's not normal. That's not healthy. That's sabotage. Rosberg compared this situation to his time at Mercedes. He said that at Mercedes, everyone respected Toto Wolff. There was no confusion about who was in charge. Everyone pulled in the same direction. But at Ferrari, it feels like people are still fighting over control. Small decisions need to go through committees. Approval takes too long. There's no room for instinct, no room for urgency. In the fast-moving world of Formula One, that kind of slow decision-making is a recipe for failure. He even called it a leadership obituary, which may be the harshest phrase a team like Ferrari could ever hear. He said, when the boss has no soul, the car has no soul. That line wasn't just about one man. It was about an entire structure, because in Formula One, the energy of the garage, the confidence of the engineers, and the clarity of the strategy all start at the top. If the leader can't inspire belief, then even the most advanced car can't save you. Rosberg also shut down a popular excuse that many fans use to defend Ferrari. Some say that Ferrari's problems come from being based in Italy, far from the UK-based teams like Mercedes and Red Bull, that the culture is just different. But Rosberg didn't agree. He said geography isn't the issue, identity is. Ferrari isn't failing because of where they're located. They're failing because of how they think, because of how they act, because of the systems they built, and the resistance to change that lies within them. And then came Rosberg's most important point. Ferrari is running out of time. According to him, next season is their last real chance. Their final audition. The grace period is over. There's no more waiting, no more patience. If they don't get it right soon, they risk falling into permanent decline. Rosberg said that Ferrari's to 0-5. Car might be revolutionary. There's talk of a lighter chassis, a new aerodynamic concept. But he made one thing clear. You can build the best car in the world. But if your team doesn't believe, it's worthless. And that leads to his final warning directed at Hamilton. Rosberg knows Lewis. He knows what kind of environment Hamilton needs to be successful. One that trusts him, one that backs him, one that doesn't make excuses. And Rosberg isn't sure Ferrari can be that place. He said that if he were in Hamilton's shoes, he wouldn't have made the move. Not until he saw fire in the building. Not until he saw proof that Ferrari was ready to change. That's personal. That's deep. And it comes from someone who went toe-to-toe with Hamilton and understands exactly how high the stakes are. Let's not forget, Rosberg and Hamilton weren't just teammates, they were rivals. Their 2016 title fight was one of the most intense in history. Rosberg knows how strong Lewis can be. He also knows what kind of pressure can break a team. So when he warns that Ferrari may be the wrong place for Hamilton, it's not a cheap shot. It's a serious caution based on experience and a real understanding of what's at risk. So where does this leave Ferrari and Hamilton? In a very uncomfortable place. Because the problems Rosberg pointed out aren't quick fixes. They're deep. They're cultural. They involve how the team communicates, how they build trust, how they make decisions, and how they treat leadership. And unless those things start to shift soon, no new floor upgrade or engine mode will be enough to cover it up. Ferrari must now ask itself the hardest question of all: are they truly ready to change? Not just to redesign a car or rework a strategy, but to change who they are as a team. Because if not, they risk wasting one of the greatest drivers in Formula One history. Hamilton didn't come to Ferrari for second place. He came to write a new chapter. But he can't do that alone. He needs a team that's united, a team that's hungry, a team that's ready to believe again. Rosberg's words should be a wake-up call, not just for Ferrari, but for anyone who thinks legacy alone can win championships. Formula One doesn't care about the past. It only rewards those who get it right today. And if Ferrari wants to be a winner again, they have to stop relying on history and start building a future that works. The next months will be telling. The 2025 car will soon be tested. Leadership decisions will be made. Internal pressure will grow. And every result will carry more weight. If Ferrari can start to fix the issues Rosberg pointed out, if they can become more united, more confident, more responsive, then maybe, just maybe, they can prove him wrong. But if not, if the confusion continues, if the culture stays broken, then Rosberg's words won't just be a warning. They'll be a prophecy, because in Formula One, you don't get unlimited chances. You get one shot to build something great. And if Ferrari doesn't take that shot now, someone else will. And Lewis Hamilton, he may find that the real battle isn't with Red Bull or Mercedes, but with the very walls of the team he chose to trust as Ferrari looks ahead to the rest of the season. The challenge is no longer just about catching Red Bull or staying ahead of Mercedes. The real challenge is internal. It's about repairing a culture that has grown rigid, where ideas clash more than they align. Rosberg didn't just criticize a few races or a bad pit call. He described a team stuck in its own myth, one that is failing to evolve in a sport. That punishes hesitation. That's why his words sting. He isn't speaking from bitterness. He's speaking from a place of deep knowledge, both of the sport and of Lewis Hamilton.